Hello there. My name is Justin, otherwise known as the Craft DeLorean, and welcome to part 1 of making the TF2 medic gun and backpack. And in today's video, I am going to show you guys how I made this guy. And in the next video, I'll show you how I made the backpack. And just to let you know, as of recording this is how far I have the backpack. Which, this stuff takes longer since it's made of cardboard and the filling process takes a little bit more rounds. But, yeah. So, let's get started. So first, I bought this file that we'll be using on Colts 3D, and you can find the link to it in the description. Then I got my file right here. I'm going to slice it. After that was done, I downloaded the file into this USB stick and stuck it into my printer. And after selecting what I wanted to print, I can start printing. Alright, so I got this piece printing right now, and it's not going to take too long. In fact, it's at like 38% right now, but yeah, I'm just printing out this little piece just to test out my printer, see how good it is, because some of these pieces are going to take like a day or even like 2 days, so yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Also, MattPat/GT Live, oh my gosh, I gotta say thank you, MattPat, because you've been an awesome dude. I can't wait to see anything else you do, so thank you, my guy, as you eat the awesome hot ones. Thank you, MattPat. May the Freddy Fazbears be with you. But that's just a theory. Again! And just like that, this print is done. So, yeah. You can start getting these pieces off of here. Throw that in the trash. And yeah. Here it is, the first piece, which is really tiny. So, yeah. I'm gonna be starting on a couple of the next ones, so hopefully that goes well. Alright guys, progress on the gun. I got one of the parts printing right now. It should be done in a second. And this is one of the pieces, but it kind of failed because I didn't have enough filament in the roll. So, luckily I swapped it out with a new one, which is really great. And so, yeah, been making a bit of progress. With this, I should hopefully be able to make it the backpack after this piece is done, because it gives me the size for the tube that I need to have. So yeah, should be great. And that should be done any second. Let's see how it's going across there, which is really cool. And wow, it's been almost 16 hours printing this. That's insane. I think I'm gonna work backwards with the gun, since I'll go through most of the roll with doing that. And I'll save like the biggest piece for last. So yeah, should be crazy. And there we go. The piece is all done. So yeah. Try and take it off. Yeah, I'll have to take it off with doing this. Okay. There we go. So yeah, the piece looks great. And yeah, I'll have to take off all the supports and stuff, so that'll be fun. Woohoo! Then I 3D printed all the pieces together, and they 3D printed, and that's all.
They 3D printed together. I 3D printed the pieces
yeah. Then I 3D printed the rest of the pieces and removed all their supports, so that way I could move on to the next process of this build. Alright, so today we're going to be working on the gun, and what we're going to be doing is applying some Bondo. Now, normally I would apply resin to this, but I am working with time, and I don't have much time left. So, yeah, I'm going to put Bondo on this, and then sand, do the whole smoothing process, and then I'll be able to move on to painting. Oh, I think I'm also going to paint the tube thing black to match the game. So, yeah. Hopefully, I can get a lot of progress done today. So, yeah. I will catch you guys once it's done. This is Bondo Glazing and Spot Putty, a toothpaste-like substance that we are going to be using to fill those 3D printed lines on our 3D prints. I applied Bondo to all of those 3D prints, making sure to fill in all those 3D print lines so that way we can sand them down smooth. Alright, I've gone through and Bondoed all of these pieces. And yeah, well, for all these pieces all Bondoed, I have to wait for them all to dry, which shouldn't take too long. And yeah, after that, I'll start sanding, and then I'll prime. Also, be sure not to get this stuff on your hands. If you do, like I just did, wash them immediately. So I'm gonna go do that. Yay! Alright, and how I'm going to sand is by using this hand sander. It's sandpaper, and I'm going to do that to all those pieces, and then I'm going to put a coat of primer on them. After waiting about 20 minutes for the Bondo to dry, I grabbed my hand sander and just proceeded to sand all the pieces with 220 grit, making sure to get into all of those crevices so that way I could move on to the next step, which is priming. No, not that prime. We don't like that one. I'll show you what I mean. This is filler primer, and what we're going to do is we're going to spray this all on the 3D printed pieces to fill in any small little cracks or anything. Afterwards, I repeated those 3 steps again until the 3D printed pieces were smooth enough and also looked good enough to apply the paint. Now, while we wait for me to finish up the filling process, for those who don't know what this prop is from, you might be wondering, what is TF2? Well, let me tell you. TF2, or Team Fortress 2, is a first-person shooter with team battles like Red vs. Blue, and is a really cool game that is so popular you may have seen its characters around without playing or even knowing the game if you've been on the internet long enough. They've been in plenty of animations like SFMs and plenty of memes.
It is good there to be not dead. Pow! You are dead. I'm dead.
That one's my favorite. Anyways, back to what I was doing. And here I am sanding the second layer of Bondo that I put on these parts. And you can do as many layers as you want, but for time I just decided to do 2. And so I primed these guys, but I didn't have any more filler primer until I went to the store. So I just used this primer, which turned out pretty good, and now I move on to painting. After organizing these parts into what colors they were going to be, really only one of them turned out to be red. Well, the rest were a dark gray, so then I proceeded to paint them as such. After applying the paints, I use an X-Acto knife to get some of the little junk off the piece that may have dried, and then I proceeded to add acrylic paints for either weathering or the black strap on the barrel of the gun. Alright, now that I got paint on this stuff, it's kind of hard to tell with this, but I did paint these areas black. Some of the parts are still drying, but now I can actually start gluing these pieces together, so I'm gonna go do that. Alright, so today I'm going to use a mixture of this E6000 and this Gorilla Glue. I would recommend wearing gloves for this, so I'm gonna go put those on now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put the E6000 first, on all the parts, and then Gorilla Glue because this dries slowly, but it's very strong. This dries quickly, but it's very strong. So it's going to make a really good bond when gluing together all these parts. So, yeah. And then I proceeded to do just that with all the pieces so they can all be glued together. Alright. I got this stuff glued, and now I'm going to wait 24 hours for this thing to finish drying. Yeah. Then I'll put a clear coat over it, and it should be done. So, yeah. Great. Then I applied a satin clear coat so that the pieces are still a little bit shiny, and this was so that I could protect all the acrylic paint that I just put on to make sure they don't get scratched off. But as you'll see, something did go wrong with it. Oh, yeah, and I forgot. There's also these little black wires in the back of the gun that I took some bendable wire and painted that black so I could attach it later. Alright guys, so there's some parts that did not cure well with the satin coat. So I'm going to sand those areas, spray them with the dark gray color that I have here, and then satin coat that, and then after that I should be able to matte coat this. Unless it looks good, but yeah. Then it should be done, so yay. Yeah, so I sanded down those parts that were a little bit wrinkly, if you saw in the video. But the problem is that when I went to go spray paint that again and put a clear coat, it still had that problem. So I had to sand that again, and well, I just had enough, so I didn't even bother with a matte coat. Okay, so I've spray painted this thing for the second time because I spray painted it, and then when it dried, it had the same effect as last time, but then I sanded it again, and now it should hopefully be all fixed. And then I can get a matte coat on the black band that wraps around this whole thing. And so yeah, hopefully this goes well. Yeah, I was so frustrated I didn't want to put a matte coat on that black band. So why that happened was the fact that it was the paint underneath must have not dried, or I may have put too much of that clear coat on. And so when I decided to sand all that stuff again and spray paint it, that paint wasn't dry either. So what I had to do was wait until that paint was dry in order to put the clear coat, and that solved the issue. So moral of the story is, wait for your paint to fully dry before putting a matte coat or any kind of clear coat on. And even if that means waiting a day. But after I successfully got that clear coat to work, I moved on to the final bit, which was adding these black metal wires to the gun. And taking off the tape from that whole catastrophe from earlier, it was pretty easy to attach those black wires. All I did was cut them with some wire cutters. I bent them, and then I hot glued them into place. And now it's time to show you the final product. Alright, and that was the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did building it. Well, if you don't count all the frustrations with this build. I had a very fun time making this, and you know, I didn't do resin like I normally do for these 3D prints, but due to time and stuff, I had to skip that step. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty well, and it's not that much weathering at all, really, which I'm more used to weathering, but well, what can you do? The reference that I have in the game, well, these stuff isn't really weathered that much, but yeah. So, yeah, this was pretty fun, and I hope that my friend Steven will enjoy this. So, if you guys like what you see here, remember to hit the like button and subscribe, so that way I can pump out more videos making more stuff like this. So yeah, and if you have any more suggestions on what I should build or any improvements that I should make, please let me know in the comments below, and I will try to read them all. So anyways, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.